So when I started playing music in the late 90s in Southeast Kentucky and East Tennessee, there really wasn't a music scene back then like there is today. You know, today we have a thriving scene in this part of the world. But back then there was more of a bar scene, and it was a bar scene that was on its last legs. It's kind of like that movie, Almost Famous, where the Philip Seymour Hoffman character says to the kid, "Yeah, you came along just in time for the death rattle, just in time for the last gasp." And the kid said, "Well, at least I'm here for that." That was kind of my attitude on the whole thing. The places that my mom used to say to me, "Don't ever go in those when you grow old," that's the very places I wanted to go into. You know, the kind of places I played were brutal. They were brutally honest, and that's what I loved about it. I love the fact that if you sucked, they let you know about it, and if you stunk, they let you know. You know, I'm not trying to be a dick, but if you go to church, you could sing off key all night long, and you're doing it for the Lord, so no one's going to say anything about it. Also in those days, house bands was the thing. So every bar in town had a specific band that played every weekend, no matter what. They were the house band. They were the hired guns to be the live jukebox in the background. So people like me really didn't have a place to go. We had to kind of go on the outskirts of town, find the little roadside watering holes, and see if they'd let us in to play. So after playing for several years and just being straight up cover bands, you know, I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna put together a band, and we're gonna do just original music, and you know, we might throw in some covers too. So we actually went out and worked up 17 original songs and took them to the Starlight in Jellicoe, Tennessee, and played them straight through in order. And the crowd just looked at us because they were expecting us to play something they knew. So we did the entire first set of just our stuff. And the owner was like, "We've never heard that before." And I was like, "Well, I know, that's why I'm playing it for you." But he took me to the side and he said, "Man, you got to learn how to put those songs in the right spot." He said, "You've got some good songs. I like your original music. But if you're going to do that stuff in here, you're going to have to find a way to make it work and make it flow." Meanwhile, I had fellow musicians saying, "You'll never be able to do that in here." And I don't know what it was, when they told me I couldn't do it in there, it became my sole mission to do it in there. And boy, did I get cut down to size pretty damn quick. People would yell, "Play something we can dance to, play something we know." And I'd say, "Know something we play." And at first it was just back and forth between me and the crowd. I had written some good songs and some people enjoyed it, but I just didn't feel like I really had come into my own yet as a songwriter. I still felt like I was trying to find my voice, and finding my voice as a songwriter was really important to me. And that's why I just kept going into those places. I felt like this is the perfect breeding ground to learn how to write a song. For some reason, I got caught up in that whole paying your dues idea, which I don't even know is relevant anymore. Nowadays, your best bet is to have a viral video or have someone higher up the totem pole than you are hook you with their wagon. But I've had the viral videos, but they're controversial subjects that no one wants to go near, so that doesn't always help. I just didn't want for the musicians that had came before me and worked so hard to see me just get it undeservingly. So it became an obsession that I had to prove myself, that I couldn't let anything be handed to me. Which goes against what most people nowadays are taught, you know. But I'm of the belief, kind of like gonzo journalism, you just kind of have to live it. And I thought the only way I will ever become a good songwriter is if I really get hurt and I really get down in the gutter and down in the mud and get dirty. So I really did throw away the book, Songwriting for Dummies. I thought, what a useless book that is. I noticed a trend. I noticed whenever I said to the crowd, "This is an original song that we wrote," that was the crowd's cue to go piss, go get a beer, stop dancing, take a break. And that used to rub me so wrong. And I was like, why will these people not listen to what I'm saying? Me and Gary Lee, Donnie Farrell, good friend of ours, Steve Eisenmenger, we had been getting together having songwriting sessions, and we were starting to write the songs that would eventually become the Realbillys, that would become the Realbillys catalog. But we were in the early stages of that, and right out of the gate, Gary and I writes $3 Wine.
You ready to raise some hell or what?
Which was a true story about a girl that he knew. And we go out to play, and Donnie says, "You guys surely ain't gonna play that in here." And I said, "We sure as hell are." We played it with the girl standing there. And when we did, Of course, she got madder than hell, but the roof just came off the place. And when I saw that, I saw my opening. And I was like, okay, now I know how to get these people to listen to my music. I'll just start writing about them. So if I saw a guy get bounced out on his head by the bouncers, I wrote a song about it. And I'd come back the next week and go, hey, remember that old drunk y'all had to bounce out last week? Well, I wrote this for you boys. Boom. If some old drunk sat and told me his life story, I'd write about it. I'd come back and go, hey, last week I sat back here having a good conversation with my old buddy Ron. Here's one for you. Boom. And of course, if I wrote a song about a woman, I made sure she knew about it. But once I brought the audience in and made them part of the stories and part of the songs, that's when it all turned around. And that's when suddenly people started requesting our songs. And since then, I've had places say to me, hey man, when you come here this week, make sure you play your stuff. So a big fuck you to all those people that said, you're spinning your wheels, you're never going nowhere, you can never get it done, you can never do that in here. No, by God, I did it. And I sure went through hell getting there. That old van, we drove around, it broke down on the side of the road countless times. We hit deers, we ran in ditches, slept in it at 3 o'clock in the morning on the side of the road. Hell, one night I played my show with this dude threatening to blow my brains out the entire show because he thought I fucked his woman. I had a woman threaten to shoot me one night. They had to take me out the back door. I almost got ran over in the parking lot. And every time I just kept on writing them songs. And people would say, man, you need to get out of town. You need to do something. You're talented, which I hate that word. But you need to get out of town. You've got what it takes, man. You need to get out of here. And I just kept saying, yeah, but I'm writing my best shit living this. Playing the dives was never me chasing my dream. I hate that phrase, chasing the dream. Music is not a dream to me. It's a reality. I have saw some people chase the dream and the dream die inside them. But when the music becomes your reality, that's when you will never quit. And while so many people used to say, man, you know, we're spinning our wheels, I was always like, no, we're collecting these stories. We're living this. We're living this out. And we're collecting these stories as we go along. And these characters that are in these dives are worth writing about. And they're worth preserving. And that's something we're going to talk more about. Preserving those characters and why everyone should do so. So, to play in the dives, to the Realbillies, the Mustang Lounge, the Wooden Nickel, to all the women who tried to kill me, all the men who threatened to blow my brains out, and to Gary Rossington who once said, if we had died without making it, we would have died happy because we knew something was there. If it ain't bourbon, it ain't whiskey.